This short video is about the meaning of the planets. We've got you to draw the symbols, get used to what the symbols mean, and again I want to move on to the symbols without you keep writing the names for the planets. So we have the Sun, symbol for the Sun, the symbol for Mercury, Venus, Mars and Jupiter. Now you'll notice the Moon is missing because the Moon is such a big influence in astrology. We're going to do a video or a class when we get around to it in its own right on the Moon, so don't worry about the Moon just yet. Now, this is a symbol for the Sun, of course, and we briefly touched it before, where we say that the dot in the middle, it's a circle with a dot in, and that's your ego, that's your inner nature, your inner drive. Each sun sign has a reason for being, and we studied those when we did the signs of the zodiac. We know that Geminis are ideas people, the earth signs, it's a mutable sign. All that comes together in the symbol of the planet of the Sun. The Sun represents whatever sign of the zodiac you are, and basically it's the same story as was the sign of the zodiac. So it's an easy planet to get to grips with what it does. Now, that will land in your chart, of course, in your own sign. So Mercury is the first of our different energies within us. Mercury is all about communication. It's the planet of the mind. Think of Mercury as the way that when you're talking to somebody or listening to something, it's the way you take in those impressions, the way that your particular mind processes them and sort of gives you the imagery, and two different people can look at the same thing two ways and you wonder why that is, and they can spot differences, and it's your Mercury that's doing this. Now, of course, you take in sense impressions, but you also give them out as well, and that's Mercury as well. The position in your chart that Mercury is will formulate the way that you speak. In an earth sign, for example, it might be more measured, not just slow, but more measured and more careful. Of course, Mercury in an earth sign, of course, it's going to be very quick, and there's going to be a lot of communication. So that's what Mercury's doing. It's the planet of the mind, and fundamentally the planet of communication. This is a symbol for Venus, of course, and we've covered this symbol. I've got you to draw these symbols. Venus is, again, two different strands to it. Venus is often just known in astrology as the planet of love and beauty. Well, yes, it is. It's about the appreciation of form. So it's how you see your own Venus, wherever it is in a chart, will show you how you appreciate form, what you think is nice, what you like. And also, too, it's the way that you want to be loved as well, the way you want to be liked. It expresses something about you that you literally like. So Venus in the sign of Gemini, perhaps, is a love of communication. You like communication, you like ideas and knowledge. But Venus is also about more material things. If we look at the Taurus side of Venus, which we'll come on to in a second, we'll see that it's about values and possessions, nice objects. It's not about the feeling side of Venus. So Venus itself, again, is split into two. And this is the hard bit about astrology. It's hard to remember all the meanings of all the planets. There's two different sides to some of them. Now Mars is the planet of energy. Mars is how we show our energy, and depending where it is in your chart, you will have lots and lots of energy and show it a lot, or you might have a more reserved type of energy. It might be slower, it might be more measured, it might be difficult to expend energy at times. It's often too, it's known as the sex drive as well. Mars is about that passion, it's about the reason, it's not the thinking side of things, it's the animal instinct. It backs up all the passion and the drives and the instinctive drives, and that's why Mars often gets us into trouble in our charts as well. And Jupiter, of course, Jupiter is about expansion. Where Jupiter goes, you generally benefit. There is usually a beneficial, almost without trying, a sort of lucky streak that you have. But you need to know what your Jupiter's doing. Your Jupiter in your chart will tell you where you'll be fortunate. And sure enough, if you look at your life, if you look at a person's chart, they usually will be quite fortunate in Jupiter. For instance, Jupiter in the 5th house of the chart, they could have a lot of children, say, because it's the 5th house of children, or indeed lots and lots of love affairs. They might be stood at the bus stop and they get a date and a sort of relationship develops from that. Or even lucky in gambling. So that all the 5th house things, if Jupiter is there, then Jupiter will bring beneficial things. Only one difficulty with Jupiter, and that's things going over the top. That's getting out of hand through things being beneficial. So Jupiter, so that's our basic meaning of the planets, and we're going to cover that over and over and over again until we've got these meanings, just like we've got the signs of the zodiac and the houses.